Hello and welcome back to Angular 2 Masterclass with Alejandro Rangel. In this section, we will learn how to create the index.html with the proper script tags that we need to load Angular. In the previous video, we tried to run our application. So we did something like npm start, if you remember. It transpiled all the files, and then we have a cannot get. That makes sense. Why? Because we don't have any index yet for our application, so we cannot load anything. Okay, so the next step for creating an Angular application or any web application is just to create the index, right? So let's go back to the slides. Don't worry so much about what is here, but this is a typical index. We will see this in the web store later. What is very important is the next slides. So there will be a section in the index where we will specify all the dependencies that Angular 2 needs. Okay, so and we can see that all these scripts are hosted in the node modules folder. So this makes sense. These were all the node dependencies that we download with the npm install in the previous videos, and we have to specify this in our index.html. Then we have a script section, and in this section we will tell to one library that is named system.js. Yeah, I promise you that I will explain this at some point, so now it's the right time. The system.js will take care of loading our application. So this is totally independent from Angular. This is a way to load JavaScript applications. Yeah. And how does this work? Yeah, we are telling, okay, our application is inside a folder that is app, and from the folder app, load everything that has extension JS. So it could be that in the future you want to load other types of extensions and so on. The next part of this script is telling, okay, from this folder, our application will run from the boot.js, yeah. And if there are no errors, okay, we have then null, nothing, we don't have to do anything because the application will start running. If there is one error, then we print this error in the console. So this is how it looks, a typical system.js loading. There are many other parameters that we can configure, but this is enough to load an Angular 2 application. The next part is just the body of our application, and look that here we are specifying, okay, we want to load our component. Remember that our component selector was my app, and we just put a text while the component is loading and render the template. Yeah, so the way to start this, again, npm start, we have executed this. We were not successful because we didn't have the index. Now if we code this, we will see how TypeScript transpile all the files to JavaScript. We saw this in the previous video. Then it will run the light server, and finally it will load the index. So let's see if this works this time. Okay, so we come to the web store. We need the index at the root level, so we come here and we do index.html. I have already all the information that we need from the index. Let's do it from the slides, so because I have another one on my other screen with many other stuff. So is it full? Yes, we can copy this part first. And then we come here. Hopefully at the end you will have all these slides, so you can do exactly the same, no problem. So we paste this here. Let's see if it's full. So we have the title of our application. This is just a standard HTML. We have the minimum scripts that we need to load Angular. Look, this is node modules. Let's take a look. Node modules, then we have Angular somewhere here, we have bundles, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, then we have here the system.config. As we said, we want to load from app folder the boot.js file, and we want specifically the boot.js. So this is the first file that we will load, and this will take care of bootstrapping Angular. So let's save the index, and yes, so we are here. Voila, here we have the weather app. So this is what we were expecting, right? We were expecting from our code that at some point it says loading. Let's put a little bit of indentation here. And after that, we will go to the app.component and put a header one weather app. Let's reload the browser again. We see the loading weather app. Finally, we have a fully Angular app running from our own. So now we are not using Plunker. These are the minimum steps that we need to start coding with Angular. It's important to mention, I will explain this in another videos also, but it's important to mention that Angular is planning to launch a command line interface, yeah? So you can generate all this ts, config.js and everything just with a command line. So we have something like Angular command line interface. Let's search in the status, so you can take a look here. This is the Angular command line interface. Yeah, it's still working in progress. It's very much still working in progress, but yeah, the idea from them is that you can do something like create a folder, then you go to a folder, you do ng-serve, and you have everything ready for you. It's kind of the style of min.js, if you know already. They want to generate my component, generate a directive, and then they create all the boilerplate code for you. This is going to be super interesting, but again, they specify clearly this is a work in progress. I will update these videos once they have at least a beta, so keep in tune for this. And see you in the next video.